Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Dent Sports. Another weekend of action from the Broncos and the Lions. Really putting out the quality work this week. It was really nice to see. Let's go ahead and start with the the Denver Broncos, who played the Atlanta Falcons in Fulton County, where they have problems of counting numbers. But apparently we can't count enough to get enough points on the board. With a nice 34-27 L. Another fine performance. Starting off slow. Not following game plan. Not using Lindsey. People getting hurt. Typical stuff. People not there. And then coming back and again as usual. Hey, let's make it a game. Get you excited into it. See if you might be able to pull this out. And then just fall short as usual. So again, just a typical Bronco game for the last 5 years. So nothing new here. I'd like to thank Harris for not showing up as a cornerback this week. I thought myself Halloween was over, but apparently it's not, because he pretty much masqueraded as a cornerback of the NFL. He was either getting burnt as toast, or he was either going to get penalized for a flag.
Yep.
So it really didn't matter with that. Defense had a bad game. Probably the first one of the year, I would think. According to what standards they've set in the past. Again, it's going to happen. I mean, as we've seen, the offenses had many bad games. So for the defense to actually come up with one bad one, I really can't hold it against them, again, without number one and number two corners out.
Right.
And again, I can't, I'll ache and moan about Harris as much as I can, but again, he's the fourth, fifth, sixth corner on the team going against their ones and twos on the Falcons. So it is what it is. It was just a typical weekend.
Yeah, just tough game. Got off to a slow start, which is not a good idea against the Falcons. They seem to get off to quick starts most games. So, but like Don said, it's typical. The defense has played well for them almost every week. This is the first week they kind of had a little bit of a lapse. But again, they were missing two corners, and
everybody else, defensive line's gone.
Right. I mean, they're playing with a bunch of, who's that guy? Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So it's just it wasn't going to be an easy game for them. But they did hang in there and they did come back at the end. So that's encouraging. But hopefully moving forward they can get the offense going a little bit earlier in the game.
Yeah. Like I said, my big beef right now is just, again, Lindsey was only given 6 carries. That's not enough for Lindsey.
No.
I know he's a smaller back and he's whatever with it, but you know what? He ran the ball all day, every day up at CU in the Pac-12. Which isn't SEC, but still some pretty good teams.
Sure.
And he was able to carry the rock without anything. So I don't know. Again, I know what Shermer's game plan is with him. Is it part of the whole Elway thing to, not play him so that way they can get rid of him? So they don't have to pay him next year? I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just let him sit and then let him go somewhere else, and then he'll come back a Hannes for the next 10 years. But Locke, eventually got the ball rolling and ended up with decent numbers and looked okay. But again, it gets to the same thing where it's like if he's in a controlled environment, he doesn't seem to perform well. But as soon as he gets behind and they just let him go willy-nilly, then he seems to do okay. Yeah. And that's where he shines. So I don't know if he has the cerebral capacity to figure out, hey, this is how you operate the game plan, at the beginning of the game. And then once he gets to become to like his old days at the either Big 12 or the SEC at Missouri, where they're throwing it 50 times a game, and maybe that that's his comfort zone. So if he wants to do that, we can trade him the number one pick for Trevor Lawrence in next year's draft. We'll give him Locke and our number one, and that way he can always play from behind, because he'll be on the Jets. So we'll work for that.
He'll be liking it.
Yeah.
he'll be enjoying that.
Yeah, they'll be right in his wheelhouse. Yeah. So,
well, the other possibility there is maybe the coordinator needs to do more of a hurry up offense all the time. Yeah. Maybe that's where he flourishes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I don't see why not. And then what an advantageous type of offense to have in altitude. Yeah. Run everybody to death. I mean, good luck.
Right? No, exactly. I mean, but he seems to do rather well in those situations. So maybe they should consider going to that more often. I don't know. Earlier in the game, anyway.
Yeah. Well, again, that just reinforces my Eric Bieniemy as head coach status. So anyway, enough of that before I break something. Let's go to the Lions and Vikings.
Yeah, where my heart's already been broken. So there ain't a whole lot to talk about with this game either. So depressed. It's just week after week listening to the same bullshit press conference after the game. Got to coach better. Got to do this. We're not executing. This is the second week in a row. They had 10 guys on the field.
That one didn't cost them this weekend.
Huh.
No, wasn't that a nice run? Right? Was that the
70? Yeah, 70-yarder.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just stupid stuff that's going on, and I listen to Patricia on the new press conferences, and it's always the same, the same garbage is being said. We're trying to get it week to week. We're trying to get better. There's a lot of good teams, and he always wants to give credit to the team that beat him, which I understand that because he's going to be looking for a job after this season. So he's like, let me make sure I give credit to them in case I have to go knocking on their door.
Yeah. In case they need a D-line coordinator.
Right. So, I can totally understand it. But as a Lions fan, I'm about as fed up as I can be with this garbage ball that they play consistently. And now, it's gotten to a point, too, where Stafford's not playing very well. He doesn't even look good, which is upsetting because he's been the one staple of this organization that's been consistent in his time there. But lately, he's been a little uncharacteristic and turning the ball over and throwing pick sixes and all kinds of stuff that usually isn't part of his game. I don't know what to blame that on. I'm not a huge fan of Mr. Bevel. I think he can go find somewhere else to coach. I think that Detroit has a ton of weapons there, and for whatever reason, I shouldn't go too heavy on this because they have been starting off games well. This week they didn't, but they had been getting out to leads. So I can't criticize that because that was always the problem in the past is we never got off to an early start. We were playing like the Broncos are playing right now, or we're getting down 20 before we decide to play. And that's just not going to happen. One thing that was a glaring problem for them this week was no run defense. Dalvin Cook looked like, nobody was around him. Yeah. Nobody was around him.
It's like he was playing at Florida State again.
Yeah. You give a guy like that open holes to run in, and he's just going to kill you. And it was upsetting, on many levels to see the way they played. Everson Griffin, he yapped his lips all week long about, I'm gonna show these guys what's going on. I don't recall seeing him make a single play out on the field. I think he had 2 tackles and an assist or something. But that was probably downfield trying to
chase after somebody.
Chase after Dalvin Cook after he went by him already. Yeah. So, it's just one of those things. I've spent most of my life trying to be as optimistic as I can with this team and feeling like, someday we're going to turn it around. And the more I sit here every week now doing this show, the less I see it happening. And I just feel like it doesn't matter who the fucking coach is or who the fucking GM is. Until ownership changes, it's going to be the same garbage bullshit. So, Mrs. Ford, if you're listening, please do us all a favor as fans of this team and sell it to somebody who gives a flying shit about winning. That's why I'm just so hopeful that somebody listening do that, please. do this for the fans. You want to get everybody on your side. Sell the team. You know, and maybe somebody will be happy with you at that point. And it's upsetting. Because I could see a scenario where they flip and move the team right out of Detroit altogether. And that would be a horrible situation as well. But, I mean, if we're going to continue to play like this, I mean, what the hell is the difference?
Yeah, I was going to say, I always thought, Jacksonville would have been, the Jaguars would have been nice. But Lions still work for England, too. So, I mean, because Lions is a nice symbolism for England. So,
yeah.
You can move them over there, too, as well. No,
yeah.
I don't think so, but we'll see what happens, though. Only time will tell, right?
Yeah.
As usually everything. This week, again, it's very similar to, I think what I said with the Broncos, that, hey, Stafford had a bad game. How many times has this guy, balled out for this team to even keep him in games? He had a bad game, but as expected to. Just like Denver couldn't even get into the practice facility all week due to elections and COVID testing, and his was COVID. He had to go actually fly to a different place, and he was in a different hotel, and he was isolated from the team, and then X, Y, and Z, and then it was like, hey, show up and put the helmet on, let's go. Yep. And like I said, some of it I could see was just that auto response, muscle memory that he probably knew with everything that goes on because he's been with the team for so long. But again, just like you said, once you start getting down, then you got to start pressing it, and then X, Y, and Z happens.
You're down 14 points before you know what's even going on.
That's going there, and it's just bad news.
Yeah.
Again, wasn't able to stop the Vikings run game, which then didn't put the game in Cousins' hands, which is the plus side when you play Minnesota. If you can let Cousins, do his thing. You're usually in the game and can pull it out. But, just disappointing performance this week for the team. Because, again, this is another one. If they're making that comeback and would have made it to a 500 record, 4-4, might have done really good for the team. Might have got a little bit more juice in them, and then around the city too, because they're like, man, we haven't seen the Lions at 500 this far in the season in a long time.
Right, and then this week's a winnable game that they could possibly have a chance, to get above 500. But instead, no, we're going to squander that and go 2 games below.
Yeah,
that way we can really please all the fans.
Yeah, and everybody that's around there. So
fucking beautiful.
So good work here. So I think that really puts a wrap on the fucking 3-5 fucking teams. As they're sinking to the bottom of the
two beautiful performances.
Yeah, marrying each other again in greatness.
Yeah.
So
we got this.
Yeah. Can't wait for this week.
We can't. So. We got this.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So, well, thanks for tuning in. If you like this garbage, click the like and subscribe button. If you want to leave shitty comments, we'll try to get back to you. But we'll shit on those too.
Yeah. We'll just file them like we do all the rest of it.
Yeah. So, have a good evening, and we'll see you for next week's misery.
Yeah.
Good night.